Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's not. I just want to listen.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How about you?
Somebody's sitting down there.
There's two down there.
Out of here, but there we go.
Is there a single here?
There is a single right there.
Because she just asked me on the phone what it was. So I'm just trying to find out if everything's okay. Because Kim and Joanne. I don't know. Joanne just tried to call me.
Wow. You've been here a long time.
Thanks for the warning. No, seriously, thanks for the warning. Because I know how I am.
You guys still making good balers there?
No, we have never made balers.
Oh, I thought, no, that's American balers. I'm sorry. You guys just do machine.
Yeah, big machinery.
Custom?
Basically, our machines are used first year on work, so make ball joints and tie rod joints.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot with companies making custom machinery for the EV. Shipping a lot to North Carolina.
A lot of our customers make parts.
Okay.
I work with customers up in Michigan. One of our forwards makes a 9-pound part. It's the drive shaft that's got our service lines and all those things. Runs them 40 parts a minute. So that's what our machines do. It's got progressive dies and parts.
That's amazing. What's going on out there?
For a machine that makes 9-pound parts. Some of our machines are broken wire. This one is in there. There's the transfer from die to die. Yes.
I know what the new model is.
Yeah, it's been 22 years of I get to work on stuff I design.
You're the liaison.
I'm the old guy, you're supposed to know what I'm doing.
So you gotta go around and get the bigger up.
Yeah, well,
She's picking it up.
I got a piece of it. I got a machine down. It's hair on fire.
On Wednesday, so she's dropping it off.
Yeah, so we can take her back to shop right before.
fully connected.
Single seats.
Right on there.
Hey,
Cheers. Hi.
here's one.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. I never make it in. This is the first time I've ever made it in.
I just texted you to say.
You did? Oh, there's two right there.
I think
I know,
they're
right?
taking
Oh, are they? You're just gonna sit my last friend. It's all good. Keep me calm that way. Yeah, exactly. My son's 3. What? I forgot to bring. Oh, that's okay. She's at when I was thinking. What's he doing? Yeah, just started that out. What year was it? Trail. Yeah, you dropped it on. What is it? I know.
Must be nice to be able to I haven't been there yet because of it.
She's doing good. She's a cheerleader with years. And how, what
Oh,
grade?
that's nice. At that campground in Maryland. Deer Queen.
Yeah, we're still on West Harrison.
She's the Murata.
And I see her active.
So on one side, it's off, the other side of the road was the ocean.
I found out my best customer, his wife, texted me and said, wow, great pictures, when do I get to stay? She said, just ask Tracy, because they have condo right in the west. And she goes, it won't be as expensive if you go through Tracy versus our really. My best friend says I got she's got oh yeah. I was in the pool 7 days.
First time.
And the water was high, I had to turn on the put it back in my shorts.
I really hate when that happens.
Oh, that's nice. That's great.
And their spouses.
That's great. When I lived down there was only one place, between Fort Myers and Naples. It's called Jungle Larry's.
I don't think we can do that like that.
And now it's just grown up so much.
I know.
My parents had 9 acres in Bonita Springs,
Yeah.
next to the dog track, and now they bought it. So they sold it for $7. When we lived down there, when we moved back, they sold the 9 acres. And that village was
It's getting so expensive. It's going to go to 10
Yeah.
And the insurance now is just astronomical.
They rent theirs out and get enough money to cover the insurance and that's
And I felt, and it's so much more.
Oh, yeah. We did that so you could talk freely.
Really?
You go to your other stuff.
That's just Victoria. Hello.
So I have to show her.
There's the
I know more than
How does Kickstarter? And did you love it? Have you seen the videos online of parents with a fake picture of what a teacher looks like saying, this is your new teacher? And they're like, it's like a scary woman. It's so funny. And she pretty picture. No, I haven't. It's right there. That wasn't direct.
Yeah, that was funny though. I liked it.
Thank you. I think I'll be performing every Monday at 6:15.
Stand up, I like it.
You can't see me though.
Hey, Dave. Hey, the last roundtable meeting, when I got when I left. Well, you were here? Okay. You made mention after I left that you think some kind of demeaning that we left the meeting, me and Margot. And you should kind of mention that to me or call me. It's not like you do it publicly, because I went to another meeting, about my 7th meeting. So
Okay,
just let you
well,
know.
it would have been nice to have somebody from city council stick around to hear the people's comments.
Well, council's part of it, but the crux of it is people come forward and list their ideas when it's announced and it's recorded, and we move from there.
Okay, but it would have been nice to have somebody be there.
Council was, and has been.
They were there for 45 minutes until then finally the people started to get to talking. You've heard Patrick talk about everything. So,
I
yeah.
went to another meeting to share that information as well, which I have throughout the entire month.
Okay.
As meeting with people privately and in groups.
Well, there's 7 of you plus a mayor. It would have been nice to have someone there for the whole time.
She met her teachers tonight. When is it? Wednesday.
Get that on camera?
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be on
Hope that was recorded.
Yep. Yeah, I figured that out last week. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, to come over to say something. Doesn't sit well. I don't get it. It's on.
privately and said that he didn't have to.
But this, it wasn't built. It's all over the place. Nice job.
He could have came up and said it privately, just like he was, he was, yeah. No, I know.
So it actually worked better for that. But yeah, you're right.
He just did the exact same thing he was complaining about.
Because we're not allowed to talk about it. Do they move around at every meeting?
I think there's been different people at different meetings.
No, these meetings. Because
Good ethics council.
Usually, Birch usually sits on
because Marco's not where she was, her and the shirt were at the end.
I didn't make that.
And I'm pretty sure Josh was over there. That's why I'm asking. Because they're not in the spots that we're looking at.
Do you know who's in the
I know, that's what I said, just sit up there.
Okay.
So that's why I said, that's why I asked. I think it's because they didn't wake up on. I don't know, it's just being best. I might not have been paying that hard of attention because I was thinking this stuff was going to go on and on and on. I was touching hard on two things.
Size of the people. Something across from the lawn.
Yeah, and it shows that they don't want to, yeah, they don't want to hear what you have to say. And you can't talk around them either because then they're going to get mad. Yeah. Did I say that without your permission? My name is Willie Abachinning. Go to Ingram High School.
Okay, it's your turn to talk, Ricky Stanicki.
Welcome to the Maumee City Council meeting. It's August 19th at 6:15 p.m. We'll call the board, please.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hoppenberger,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Kleinbach.
Yes.
I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I'd like to ask council to move the executive session, actually be after 13 old business. Unless there's an objection to that, near the end of the meeting. We can kind of expedite and move through this. No objections, okay? We need to call the roll on that? No, okay. All right, we'll move executive session to the end of the meeting. So we'll move to committee of the whole. Turn it over to President Barrow, and if you would, President Barrow, introduce Laura Kobrowski from Tarta. She has a presentation. You would not do that.
I would like to present Laura Koprowski from Tarta. We've seen her before, we're happy to see her again, exciting news, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you. Sorry.
Thank you, Council President Burrow. And it's really great to be back. I really appreciate at least the annual update and review, and in between, we work a lot with your staff and with many of you here. So joining me today is the Charter Board President, Mary Morrison, who represents the City of Sylvania on our board, and then your own board member from City of Maumee, here of course, is Lou Bud Thompson, who has been on the board since 2020. And I just have to say that Trustee Thompson has played a really important, influential role in helping to guide us, Tarta, into a new day. So that's really what I'm here to talk about, Tarta today. So we have a mission, empowering people to make connections. We started out 2024 and thought, you know, we've been in this transformation for about 3 years. Let's take a fresh new look at our mission, our vision. And we felt our mission very much still connects and is vital. But we decided that we needed to propose a new vision and the leader in quality and innovative mobility options that better our community. Management presented this to our charter board, they agreed. There's a little bit of, we are committed, and I think through my presentation you'll see we're very committed in demonstrating quality. I think we have some examples of innovation, but we want a vision that stretches us. And in many conversations in the community, that's what we hear. Give us innovation, be a modern, forward-thinking transit system. We're also doing something new. We're measuring our success and sharing that with our board, with the community, with local governments like the city of Maumee. We want to be transparent in that. And so we set 4 success goals, and they are in order of importance. Employee ownership, we have to have a workforce to drive those vehicles. Quality of customer experience, I just have to say, and I'll talk a little more in the next slide about that, but there's some really great results from a customer satisfaction survey in your packet. Financial health, we take very seriously that we're a public entity. We receive public taxpayer dollars. We need to be good stewards, financially sound, and community value. And then along the bottom of that slide are 4 values that we also set as employees and as a board. We believe that this is the new culture that we want to set at TARDA. So let's go right into improving the customer experience. I hope you see around Maumee and around Lucas County some of our new looks. Goodbye to those old brown TARDA shelters. We now have new, clean, modern shelters that have clearly branded. They're for TARDA. They also have wayfinding in them with our transit system map. Many of them also have solar panels so they light up in the evenings. But we also have new bus stop signs. If you don't really remember or can't say what was the old bus stop sign, well, I understand because it was like this big and it barely fit TARDA in a bus. Now it is much larger, it sets the route, so you know when you go to a bus stop, oh, I'm waiting for the 31 in Maumee. And we worked with various members of the disability community to make sure that it was readable, accessible, we set it eye level for all people. Some other important updates that we have done is our mobile payment app has been around. We're enhancing that. In fact, we're going to have some exciting new announcements. We have some public meetings coming up where we're going to really add that best value. So we know that a lot of our customers can't pay for the best value, like a monthly pass right up front. So we're integrating some new options that you can basically pay as you go, and again, always get that best value. And then we, on board on our buses, we have new digital signage and audio wayfinding. We just want it simple, easy as to how you use TARDA. Real-time tracking. As bus riders, or if you're using Flex, this is critical to know when your vehicle is approaching. So we've been optimizing that. And then coming soon is a brand new website. Our current website tells a great story about TARDA, but if you're a bus rider, you want to go to the website, you know how to use it immediately. All right, so innovation was TARDA Flex for TARDA. This started in the beginning of 2023. It's a really great mashup of what is like Uber and Lyft on demand, but it's a shared ride. Public transportation will always be about a shared ride. And so in 2023 alone, we did nearly 28,000 rides. And as a quick reminder, because I feel I've been here a few times explaining this, is that TARDA Flex, to remember, is in these smaller vehicles, pictured there on the right, but they are always available for wheelchairs and other mobility devices. More than half of our customers use our Flex app, so you can download that. You can just manage your whole experience right from your phone. But also, we still, being public transit, we are available for customers who want to call and talk to our customer service rep to schedule a ride. And again, it's so important to remember, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., it's like Uber or Lyft. If you're at home, you want to go to the grocery store, you just log on to the app, you put in your place, the time you want to leave, how many of you are in your party, and it will give you your best time and only $3 one way. So there's no way Uber or Lyft can beat that cost. And then there you can see the 3 zones, the Tartiflex zones. So Maumee is in the southwest zone, which is green. And I just have to say, compared to Colorado, which was our old service, didn't even really compare to this. Anyway, the Colorado service area was really small for Maumee. Now, the southwest zone, Maumee has access to Monclova Township, White House, also Waterville. Also, what's really cool is you can use Tartiflex to get to the Toledo Airport, and you can also, another overlap area is Springfield Township. So think about that. Take Tartiflex to the airport, $3, you would have to pay for parking. Okay? These are some of the numbers. I always say we're like we are just data crunching numbers. We are value inspired, but we are definitely data crunchers. We love and data informed. So just look at Tartiflex. In last year, we had, let me see, what did we, in the southwest zone, we had close to 15,000 rides. Over 4,000 of those were for Maumee. And then you can see in those overlap zones that I mentioned, we also now have included Rossford, and you may have heard we also have Oregon. And why I mention that is we do have a really nice feature for anyone who is over 65 or is a registered paratransit user with TARDA. You can actually go zone to zone, because we know making connections between those zones can be a little tougher for that population. So 2024 is looking great for us. Over 6,000 rides already in that southwest zone, and nearly 4,000 of those are within Maumee. So Maumee residents seem to really be resonating with that service. So paratransit service, another really important service. We have 3 overall: the Flex, paratransit or TARPs, and fixed route. Obviously, paratransit is for people, it's primarily used for people who have disabilities, are not able to drive, and that could be physical or cognitive, and then our older adults. There's nothing better than when I'm at our paratransit facility and meet our older adults, especially veterans, who find out that they're eligible for this service. And this population obviously is using it to get out, to go shopping, maybe just have some socialization, but a lot of the use is for medical appointments, dialysis, and as you can see again in Maumee, a lot of utilization is happening here. I want to point out 2 things that we were very dedicated about doing. One is modernizing that fleet. When I arrived at TARDA, it was old. It was like 10 years old. And that's just not okay for moving this vulnerable population or our older adults. Now, our 38 vehicles, the average age of those vehicles is 3 years and 3 months. So we have went after grant funding. We have been very diligent about our capital budget so we can make that happen. And then, oh, by the way, our group also was able to attain that certification. Certified Autism Center. We are the first and only transit system in Ohio to get that. Our most popular fixed routes in 2023, the 31 that services Maumee was #1. So a lot of people using fixed route. It is our highest utilized service. Last year, I mean, we're talking about 1.7, 1.8 million rides that happen across the whole transit system. And what I like to say, whether it's Maumee, Sylvania, fixed route is such an important economic development infrastructure piece. It is really oftentimes for a city of Maumee about moving workforce here to your businesses. And I have a little example about that in a minute. So fixed route 31 is your route, and really if you take that throughout Maumee, but you also have a connection to downtown as well, the 3rd highest ridership in the system right now. And we change our routes or optimize them 4 times a year. It doesn't mean everything gets changed, but we have that ability, and that's really important. Fixed route transit system can't be just fixed. It actually needs to be nimble and respond to need. So we had heard from some businesses, one of them being Maumee Assembly and Stamping, that they really depend on Route 31 to get their workforce there. But the route, the orientation of the route was a barrier. If we could reorient it, basically reverse it, make them first on the drop off in their area, they would greatly appreciate it. They thought ridership would increase, and oh, could you also add signage, because over there it was just flagged down. So I'm happy to say we made those improvements at the end of June. We have seen over 30% onboarding increase in that area, in that changes, and we really feel that the signage is also an improvement, and want to thank the staff of the city of Maumee working with us to install those signs. When we went to the ballot, we heard again and again, please bring back the money shuttle, please bring back event service. And that is a really important commitment we have to the community. So our second year in Muddy Shuttle, we've expanded the service. We do all home games Friday and Saturday. And it's been a great hit, so we're looking to bring back walleye service too this fall, late fall. And then for the first time, we did the Uptown Music Fest, July 3rd and 4th, and had a really great response. We hope to make that annual and work with you all. And then finally, just wrapping up here, just a couple more slides. I just want to talk about our fleet. It's not just about putting money and resources to service. You really have to hold, and you should, hold us accountable for, are we keeping our capital assets modern and safe? And so investing in our fleet, introducing EV vehicles is high on our priority. I'm proud that our first entrance into that is with our paratransit vehicles. So we have 3, we're the first in the state to have any EV paratransit vehicles, and we have 2 more on the way. Our drivers love it, our customers love it, and they deserve that clean, safe ride. And then we'll have 11 more EV buses, but these are the 35-foot that you'll start seeing on our fixed route lines, and those will be coming online next year, probably late summer, early fall. And happy to say, all of that, all 11 buses are funded by federal dollars, 1 through TMACOG, and the rest in a very competitive grant, national grant process. So it's always great to bring about $10 million back to Northwest Ohio. We're doing a lot of training. We got to prepare that workforce too. And then finally, talked about the money we brought to the area, but we have some money to bring to you. Part of issue 12, really important, is that partnership with the founding charter communities, is what I like to say. There were 7, and City of Maumee was one of those. And so part of issue 12, to honor really that relationship, is that we always share a portion of the sales tax with our community so that you can make investments in your transportation system that support TARDA. We really appreciate that Maumee has done improvement. I mean, having ADA accessible sidewalks, the walkability that you're doing in Uptown, the bike path, all of that is so supportive of a multimodal system, and we greatly appreciate that. So, Bud, Mary, and I would love to hand this off and get a picture too, if that's all right.
Yep, Ms. Puffenberger, who's chairman of our finance committee, is going to accept it on behalf of the city. Thank you, Ms. Kabrowski. Obviously, since you've taken over TARDA, it's been a pleasure seeing the 180 that organization has done, and the equipment that you brought on board, and really the big part is getting people to work. I mean, right? I mean, that is a huge part of your fixed route piece, is getting people to work, and the businesses appreciate that because it opens up their ability to hire people that maybe don't have transportation, but at least opens up that market for them to do that. So You have been an integral part of our success the last couple of years, especially since you've taken over Target. So thank you very much. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll continue with committee of the whole, Mr. Becker.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald.
You move the microphone in, so move the microphone in.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Having reviewed the agenda, are there any comments, remarks, or changes? Councilman Linebacker.
Thank you, Council President Barrow. My comments right now concern item 10D, which is the grant program for repair and replacement of sewer laterals. When it comes to legislative and regulatory actions that affect city residents, I consistently advocated for our citizens to be involved in the decision-making process. Doing so can be time-consuming and messy, but efficiency is not the goal. Absent any real time constraints, developing the best solutions for the community should be the goal. Now, it's clear that this grant program that's being proposed here on the agenda tonight, that it offers some direct financial benefits to several people who were affected by the recently repealed ordinance. I'm sure all of us would like to see these people be compensated to offset some of the costs they incurred that are no longer required by ordinance. However, this program has not been developed in partnership with the community, at least as I envision it. People who have been attending the roundtable meetings, and which are still going on, have not been involved in developing this program. And this committee of the whole really is the first opportunity that City Council has had to deliberate the proposal as a body. Here are some questions that could be discussed. Is the proposed grant program the best use of city funds for reducing sanitary sewer overflows? Should our primary focus be on eliminating sewer laterals or direct flow connections? Inflow connections, sorry. If sewer laterals are a proper target, should the grants apply only to the property owners who incurred expenses for sewer lateral work in the right-of-way, or should it be continuing on? And should City Council be responsible for authorizing the specifics of any grant or loan program? So I think these questions and others that other people would have deserve discussion and deliberation by Council with citizen input. A Strong Towns online document that I read recently states, quote, local governments should be the place where residents collectively shape their cities. And a similar sentiment was expressed, I think, by the mayor in Sunday's Toledo Blade when he said, in referring to finding answers to the challenges that we face, quote, but if we do it collectively as a community, we'll succeed. I agree with him on this point wholeheartedly. We must combine the experience, knowledge, and wisdom of the administration and our citizens to succeed in resolving our SSO challenge. So with that said, I just believe that this particular item on the agenda is premature, pending more involvement and discussion. Thank you, Council President Barrow.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? What I'd like to add to this, to those remarks, we have been held in, as many of you know, maybe not everybody, but as many of you know, that we've done some quite a few roundtable discussions and giving straight factual information to the people. Through those ends, I have also attended meetings outside of City Council's chambers here. I've talked to an awful lot of residents over the last few weeks in depth for hours on end, as has many of the council people here. And I think what this reflects is a lot of the information and questions and answers that people wanted to be put in place to get relief that they have already expended out of their own pockets, and a very, as we can go through it in the discussion, we can discuss it more, but pretty in depth, and I think a painless way for people to address the particular issues that they have on their laterals from the city right away. There was awful lot of misinformation out there. It's still out there, and it has a lot of people nervous from what you have to do if you don't do it, connections and all that. And every meeting I've been to outside of council, that's sort of the temperament, and it's upsetting to a lot of people. And I was upset when I heard about it because I knew it wasn't true. But there's just a lot of misconceptions out there that we have to continuously dispel. For example, if you don't sign up, it's not $1,000 a day fine. You don't have to pay a $2,500 tap fee. They're not gonna come and kick your door in your house. It's just, but a lot of people don't know this isn't true or can't be done and believe it because it's what they're being told by, I hate to say, some of their friends and people, business people and community. This is the first step in what we're doing, but we'll discuss it more here. You're welcome. Thank you. Are there any other questions on this topic?
Well, I guess I was just wondering, I mean, things like this can always be improved upon once they're in, so I guess what is there to get this grant going and get people who have essentially already done the work able to apply? And then, some of the things that you brought up for discussion are items that we don't even know if it's possible to do. I mean, would the city love to be able, excuse me, to spend money on private property? Sure, public money, but that's not something that we know we can do yet. So I guess are you proposing we wait until we at the very least get a response from the auditor or the attorney general before we do any sort of like rollout? Or, I mean, because these, as you know, these things are, once they're put out there, they can be adjusted and edited and added to. So I guess that's kind of what I'm wondering.
I have a question.
Sure.
Maybe Mr. Birch can answer this. So, A, how many homes does this affect? And was this during, what, a 4-week period when that ordinance was in effect that those homes were actually affected because they decided to do work?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many, and how many?
Approximately more than 50.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just need clarification.
Sure, thank you. Okay, thank you. Was that all then? Did you respond to this question?
And also, one other point of clarification too, this is actually money that was spent in the city right away.
Correct.
Correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Right, we can't go onto the people's private property there. Let me just clarify a couple of things too, to settle on. Sorry?
No, I was just gonna clarify the public-private property
Thank you.
issue. You know, we were, obviously, we researched this well before this ordinance was in place and other factors were in place. And it's pretty clear, just looking at a recent case from the Ohio, or not recent, but a case out of the Ohio Supreme Court that held it was unconstitutional to provide any financing of a residential subdivision development project. They made it clear that any financing of private property type ownership, is illegal under the Ohio Constitution. We drafted letters to the Ohio Attorney General, also asking for other input, the Ohio Auditor, but all their decisions are pretty clear that, doing work on private property is prohibited in general. Paying for that out of public funds.
Councilman Lamar, thank you.
No, I understood that. That's not my issue. I just believe that if we're going to start down a path, we should be quite certain that the first step we take on that path is in the right direction. And I just think this is premature to start down that path. This is committing some funds to some people who've incurred expenses, but may not really be doing much for our SSOs. So that's my point.
Thank you.
Councilman, Council President Farrell, this proposal to setting the parameters and so forth, is that in consultation with our finance committee, or is it just, or not? It authorizes the city administrator to set the parameters and approve the grant program.
The parameters are in your packet, sir, and they were in the original ordinance that you repealed. Rightly so, but it was repealed. I think the issue is at hand here is that you have 50+ people that either have done it or will be compelled to do those improvements that did so in good faith. And the idea here is to reinstitute this same program that allows people to be reimbursed. And one person in particular is owed $6,900. that's why we put it forward. And the reason it's done as a policy as opposed to an ordinance is so that you didn't have to pass something by emergency and make people wait 3 months to have that happen. And also to make sure that if council wanted to tweak or change this grant program as they went forward, or eliminate it, they could certainly do that easily.
Thank you, Councilman Sher. Councilman Steinbach?
Last question, I believe. Does it say anywhere in here that it is limited to those people only? That it applies only to those people and not future applicants, people who voluntarily do some sewer lateral improvement?
No, it does not prohibit it to just those people who had done it before, because there are people that have contacted the city and been inspected since then that want to replace their laterals all the way to the main. It stands to reason, voluntarily.
Yeah, this is the voluntary program.
It stands to reason if somebody's willing to do it voluntarily, that if you're willing to help fund somebody doing right-of-way work voluntarily, or through the ordinance, you would certainly do it voluntarily, but that's up to council, it's not my choice. I simply put it in front of you.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, I mean, any money that does go out into this grant program is money coming from our increased rates that was planned to go towards lining of the main sewers. So any money that does go out, we'll still need to make those adjustments for lining the mains, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on the rest of the agenda? Having seen none, this concludes Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Next is citizen comments, which is a 3-minute limit. We have Rick Hardy that has submitted his name to speak. Mr. Hardy, can you come forward, please? State your name and address. Actually, know your name, just your address is fine. You want to talk about Strongtown?
Yes.
Yep. Welcome.
Resident of this trail. I have to ask one question to the law director. When you said you can't use the money on private property, is the road considered private or is it public?
What, the roadways?
No,
in
the
city?
road or wider right of way.
The right of way? The right of ways would be considered within the right of way is something that the city has control of. So that's still within public property.
So if there were repairs to be done there, that would qualify as a public money going towards a personal home, personal area.
In the right of way area.
In the right of way. So with that, I mean, the Supreme Court says that you can't do that, but if it's owned and managed by the city and not the resident, does that give us more
The
leeway?
fact that it's in the right of way is how we look at it.
Say that again, please.
The fact that it's in the right of way, that portion that's in the right of way is something that we do have control over potentially.
It maybe to help clarify, the right-of-way is something that's shared by everybody, the public, and it's not a piece of private property.
Okay. Just need clarification. It just, I have a question for City Council, and I hope you bear with me through this. I will make it quick. I would like to know what the application and associated costs the city had to spend to apply for the Strong Town competition. We've asked, and we have been told that Patrick Birch needs to release that information. The finance director said she could not release it. We just would like to know what was spent, how much. I'm curious, I want to know. That's my question. Can you help us?
I'd love to know who told you that, because that's absolutely untrue. I'm not the public records person. That is our attorney.
If you have a question, we'll certainly answer it for you, if that's it. Yeah. Anything further, Mr. Hardy?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Birch will explain. Thank you.
Regarding the Strong Towns, it's a simple application. I actually filled out the application in conjunction with some of the staff. There was no application fee to do so. There is some money that I don't put those numbers together. That would be the finance department giving through the attorney and through the city clerk to release that information. There's some information for PR signs and stuff that were done. But I don't know of any other thing that was done to promote other than those issues.
Was there some donations? I believe there were.
There were donations too.
But other than that, there was no cost to apply for it or to enter it or anything like that. There was no cost to it. Yeah, so.
There was a podcast that we didn't pay for though. They did it themselves.
Anything further? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. We need a motion to approve the. Where is it? Mr. Cobb, where is it?
Just throw it over here.
Thank you. Yep.
Hey,
Can you
everybody.
say your address too, please?
Danny Cobb. My name is Danny Cobb. I'm a lifelong Maumee resident, basically, over 1149 Holgate Avenue.
Thank you.
Came today to talk about Mr. Birch and a section in his contract called constructive dismissal. I would like to ask the council and mayor to relieve Mr. Birch of his duties. I would like to cite public humiliation and these other things listed here.
We're not going to have an attack on somebody that's sitting up in these chairs. If that's something you want to discuss after the meeting, but I would ask for decorum, and we are not going to have somebody come up and attack an individual that is currently in a service position with the city. That's just decorum. So if
I'm
you have
not
any,
attacking anyone, sir.
so if you have anything further, other than that, thank you.
Sorry, Danny. Perfect. We're here for you.
We'll move to adoption of the agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda as
Don't have to
submitted.
worry about taking the tree
Can I have
down.
Yes, Mr. Ross. And a second?
Before we entertain that motion, I'd like to move to remove item D from the consent calendar until we have a chance to really look at it. So that, I move to remove item D from the consent calendar.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Protocol's okay? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to remove D from the agenda. And a second, we'll call a roll on it.
Actually, it would be, if you take it out of consent, it would have to go under new business for action.
Okay. So, you understand that? Okay, so we're gonna move it into new business, which would be in 12. The motion is to move 10D into 12?
That would be the motion, right?
Yeah. Is that what you want to entertain?
It is, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have that on the floor to move D into new business 12. 12A, actually, 12A. Any other comment on that? Call the roll on that motion.
Newman,
Yes.
Hoffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebaugh.
Yes.
Okay, so the adoption of the agenda will be as revised. A motion to approve the revised agenda. Mr. Can we call the roll then?
Newman,
Yes.
Hoffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebaugh.
Yes.
And approval of meeting minutes of July 22nd and July 31st, special meeting. Motion to approve those minutes. Mr. Neal?
Could you, Mayor McDowell, make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2024, and the July 31st special meeting?
I will second that motion, thank you.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Newman,
Yes.
Hoffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebaugh.
Yes.
No petitions and communications are before us this evening. We'll move to number 10, consent calendar. A motion to approve all consent calendar items, and we'll need a second, and we'll go through these.
Ms. Butler?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'd like to make a motion to approve all consent calendar items.
I'll second.
Thank you. A is a recommendation from the law director authorizing the city administrator to complete purchase of real property from Cornerstone Church for additional parking at Roth Park and sign any documents necessary to effectuate the closing of the same. Yes, Mr. Lambert?
You know, it's just something the title company required for closing that should occur probably this week for that parcel.
Would you like to explain what this parcel entertains, Mr. Burke?
Yes, this is the parcel that you see behind the church. It's about 3/4 of the parcel. There's been some overcrowding in the parking lot during summer events because of soccer, and the success of the soccer program has had a large part to this, but we got to make sure we provide more parking. This will create another 191 spaces once it's repaved and fixed.
And this is actually a large section of the parking lot behind Cornerstone Church that
That's correct.
basically was not being used by us.
I don't know if anybody parked that I've seen.
Okay. Any other questions on that from council? All right, move to B, recommendation from the city administrator authorizing the road closures of Conant Street from John Street to Broadway, as well as East Dudley and East Wayne at Gibbs and West Dudley and West Wayne at Allen on Saturday, September 7th, to celebrate the Sunshine Community's 75th anniversary and free concert uptown. This is actually put on by Sunshine Communities. They have invited a girl named Tom to perform here. Also, I think Chloe and the Steel Strings is going to open up for them. So this is actually closing the streets off in those particular blocks to effectuate the concert that they're asking to put on. Any comment on that? Okay. Move to item C, recommendation from the city administrator authorizing the closure of the 100 block of West Broadway at Conant and Allen in front of St. Joe's on Wednesday, September 25th, between 9 a.m. and 12 for a community dedication of the new school addition. This is a beautiful project that St. Joe's has been working on the past year or so, expanding their school part of their campus, and they are asking for a closure there for a celebration time during those 3 hours. Any question on that? Okay, we'll call the roll on the consent calendar.
Noonan,
Yes.
Poppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebacker.
Yes.
There's no other business, no new business, actually there is no new business, it'd be 12A, which was the old 10B. Recommendation from the law director authorizing the city administrator to set parameters and approve a grant program for repair or replacement of sewer laterals or lines in the public right of way.
So I just need a motion from someone on council if somebody desires to make that motion.
The parameters are in your packet too.
All right, the parameters are in the packet before council. Is there a motion out there to make that? Okay, see?
Wait.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Mr. Newman, I'm sorry. Yep. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll make a motion to pass 12A.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Any comments further on that? And we'll call the roll on 12A.
Noonan,
Yes.
Poppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
No.
Linebacker.
No.
Okay, and that passes, so there's no old business. And next on the agenda is, actually, do you want to move the executive session after comments? Is that okay with council? We'll move to comments right now? Okay.
Go home.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, we'll move to comments then, and executive session will follow that. I'll start out. I'd just like to appreciate the residents who've attended the roundtable discussions. I've made a handful of those, and appreciate the spirited discussion that's occurred in those meetings, and the facts that have been put out as to exactly what the city is up against, and what the EPA has kind of presented us with. So I really do appreciate those that have wanted to come and actually learn about actually what we're up against
and discuss solutions as to how we're going to accomplish that. I think that means a lot as far as the community is concerned. There are people that really care about this. I really appreciate that. Also, would like to mention, last week on August 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, the Calvary Church had a Serve Week here in town. They focused on all of our schools. They basically painted a lot of the hallways and the walls in the hallways, the playground, yard work. They remodeled several rooms in need, teachers' lounges, calming rooms in the schools. They also served meals at the fire division. They also did a project at the Maumee laundromat where they cleaned and offered the laundromat. Also, they offered soap products and engaged with people and offered to pay for their laundry. They also went to the Maumee Point Senior Center and engaged with the elderly there and with bingo and crafts and the residents. They had over 700 volunteers in 4 nights. Calvary Church did over a 4-day period. And their only goal was to just love the community and be a very positive influence in Maumee. And it was very well received. We've seen a lot of really good feedback with that. It was a beautiful thing to see, and it really is what community is all about. So thank you, Calvary Church, for providing that. It was something very special. Also like to talk about a letter that I received from a resident on a street and curb project that was taken care of by Mr. Birch and Mr. Simon, who's our street supervisor. And it went as follows: thank you for your quick response and attention as well. Appreciate the both of you of what you've done to rectify the problem in our neighborhood. So much is going on in our city and far too much emphasis on misguided negativity. It is when our administration loves our city. I just want everyone could see that. So thank you for your efforts, Mr. Birch and Mr. Simon as well. And school has also begun, and I just want to mention that we've got a lot of kiddos walking to school, and in the next week or so, we're going to see an elevated number of the kids on our city streets. So just encourage people to slow down and pay attention to the kiddos that are going to be out there. With that, we'll move to our council. Mr. Noonan.
Thank you, I'll pass.
Mr. Pufferberg.
Yes, I just wanted to address a couple things during my comments. So first of all, I guess giving an overall, which I've had this conversation with a few people about the right-of-way ordinance that was passed in 2022. I've lived in a variety of places in my lifetime. When this subject came up in 2022, it made complete sense to me, and I can kind of tell you a couple reasons as to why. In the small town I was from, they ran sewers during that time. My parents were expected to pay for the tap, and they were expected to pay for the pipe running from the main sewer line into my house. That was part of our property. Same thing, my sisters built houses. You pay for the tap, you pay for the line to run into your house. I've always seen that as something that's part of your house, just like your roof is part of your house and things like that. So, I never questioned it as being something that the city should pay for, and I know of other communities in which it's the same way. And then with that being said, having been on the finance committee for the past 3 years, it's definitely, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made to make sure we're being financially responsible, which I hear a lot of residents talk about, and with businesses leaving, because everyone, is, I'm sure, well aware that income tax is the way we run our city. I mean, that's where we get all our money. So having, a huge employer such as St. Luke's leave is pretty impactful. So there, we have to keep looking at things and seeing how to best kind of budget. And then also, I do want to make it a point to say that I do all my own research. I include it in my newsletter. I put it on my website. I put it out there for anyone to see or read if they want to. A lot of people choose not to. But I feel like I put it out there constantly, the research that I'm doing on my own. I use that research to then make my own decisions. So if I do vote yes on something, or if I do vote no on something, it's based on what I choose and what I'm believing, and based on the research I receive, not based on what others are telling me. I'm not a yes man. And in regards to 12A, I think this is a great thing to have out there. Before, I was not supportive of putting it attached to an ordinance again. I'm glad that we're getting something out there to write for the people that had to do the work or are about to do the work. It can always be improved upon, and I feel that can happen with more discussions with residents. I love to see everyone coming to the roundtables. I go to as many as I can. And I look forward to getting people's suggestions, and I look forward to the next steps of putting out the possible options that we have to move forward in fixing this problem, because as we've stated many, many times, we have to fix it, so we have to figure out how we want to do that. But then also, I would really, really like for people to give suggestions on how best to communicate to you guys. Because everyone's saying, where did you say this, when did you say this, and we say it in multiple places, but it seems like everyone looks in different spots. So continually giving us feedback on where to communicate would be great. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. We had hired Stantec as an international consulting engineering firm. They've been around since 1954. EPA told us to get to this, and we did. We hired them for the best firms with $870,000 approximately to do the study over a 3-year period. So the goal was to identify the problem, which we have. We have identified the problem quite extensively. Secondly, we've identified the major contributor to our ionized. We have done that. We know where it's coming from. Thirdly, our community had asked us to stop the ordinance because it was a lot. It was a shock, and we called the EPA and said, my gosh, this is too much too fast. Well, we actually had 40 years of work on it, which we weren't aware of. This council wasn't aware of it, and neither was the mayor, new mayor. We didn't know about it. We had to do something, so we stopped that ordinance. And after talking to a lot of people, the major concern, they said, well, okay, we'll fix our own property. We can do the sump pump, we can do the separation, but the laterals in the city right away. We have now made that where the city, well, through your increased fees, are taking care of that. So we've identified those 4 issues. That's why I felt strongly about, let's put this in place to start with this. Like Councilman Paltenberger said, we can tweak and change these ordinances as we go down the road to see just where we're at and how things are going. We're continuously reaching out to the EPA. We want them to give us a hard, no, you can't. They're being very big about this time period they have given us. We're sending them a direct letter in print, give us stuff, let them know. We have reached out to the auditor's office, we're in the midst of doing that. I'm not sure if that's completed yet. Put something in writing that says we can or we cannot have public funds, and can we somehow make this a community health hazard, health problem, to contribute some money towards private property. We're working on that. Also, we're reaching out to the Attorney General, David Host, to see what can be done on a larger scale, because we're not the only community that has to deal with this. Multiple communities are dealing with it. I just ask you to stay the course, and there's a lot of vitriol going on in this city, and it's really demeaning. It's demeaning to you. I'm trapped in Maumee. Look at the group that's pushing this, and it's really easy to get everybody in this room excited. All I have to say to you, well, they can come in your house anytime. They can do this, they can do that. It costs $1,000 a day. I can say that, but why would I do that? I'm not doing this to get you upset. I want to tell you the truth, that if you ever have a problem or have a question about what's really being said or done, come to Maumee City Council, talk to somebody. Thank you.
What exactly is wrong with this group?
Sir, please.
Yes.
You had an opportunity to speak earlier, and you chose not to. So this is a business meeting. This is a business meeting. We're going to conclude it. Mr. Fiskus.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank everyone who has come to the roundtables. We've had some good discussions, lots of ideas being thrown out there, and we'll take all that we can get. Thank you to Tarda for the presentation. So, Bud, if you can extend my gratitude. And then I got contacted by one of the local conservation groups. They want to ask me to do a cleanup along the river. So we're looking at September 14th in the morning. It's a Saturday. We're going to firm up some more details, and hopefully next meeting I will have more info on it.
It'd be nice to see everybody here down there to help us clean up the river. That'd be great. Mr. Harris.
And thank you, Mayor McDonald. Just real quick, I also want to thank everybody who's been showing up to the meetings, even though it's been kind of a touchy subject, and we have disagreements about how things are going to move forward. I do feel that
It's been really nice to get to know a lot of the community and see that the community is kind of working together to try to resolve this together. So thank you guys so much, and keep showing up. We get 2 more weeks of this. I'd like to see more of you there and speak with you, because I think I've made a lot of at least new friends through this process. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mr. Kirk?
Yes, thank you. I wish the women from Charter were still here. When she was speaking, reminded me of something that happened in Detroit. They were hiring new drivers, and a woman called in and made an appointment Tuesday at 10 o'clock for an interview to be a new driver. She showed up at the interview an hour late, 11 o'clock, at 11:15. And why? She's like, my bus was late. My bus was an hour late. So she didn't get the job for being critical of the Detroit transit system. And then just secondly, concerning Mr. Cobb's comments, I know there's a lot of dissatisfaction with the administrator, and if somebody or somebody's feel the need to make a change, I'm sure there are appropriate procedures to do that. But I'm fairly certain standing up during citizen comments and criticizing somebody on a personnel matter is not one of those approved procedures. So I thank the mayor for pointing that out to Mr. Cobb. This is not the time. This is not the place to do it.
Sure it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weinbach.
Thank you, Mayor Donald. Number one, TARDA. I do have a friend who's confined to a wheelchair oftentimes due to his health condition, and he's commented to me that he has seen tremendous improvement in the offerings from Flex, TARDA Flex, over the last couple of years. So he takes advantage of that when he can. So thank you, TARDA. I, for one, am one person who's really anxious to see this St. Joe project come to conclusion, because I live kitty corner from that project, and it'll be great when it's done. The Calvary Serve Week, Mayor McDonald mentioned that. I want to take my hat off to that congregation for what they did. I had a chance to serve with one of their work crews. During that, I met some old friends from years back, which was a great surprise, and I really enjoyed working along some new acquaintances. But it was an incredibly organized event. And you heard where all the different places they went. I happened to work at Mama C's, helping beautify some of their gardens, and being fed a Mama C's donut, which was a nice benefit as well. So, but that Calvary group, they really blessed our community, showed us some real love. I'm greatly impressed by that. I too want to express my appreciation to the high level of engagement from the citizens who've been going to the round tables, coming to the meetings that I've been at. I've really been impressed by the thought behind the questions that have been raised, and even some of the potential solutions. I've really been pleased to meet you, many of you who are here, and many others who are not here. I definitely benefited from our interactions, and I look forward to more. And the last item, and of course my phone just went to sleep, is in my family we're fond of quoting people who are usually well-known. And this might not be a real well-known person, but G.K. Chesterton was an apologist, a great thinker from England, and one of his quotes, this has to do with change, dealing with change, and he said, and this is from you can find the book, I don't really do that. In the matter of reforming things, so making changes, as distinct from deforming them, kind of tearing them down, there is one plain and simple principle, a principle which will probably be called a paradox. There exists in such a case a certain institution or law, he's saying. Let us say, for the sake of simplicity, a fence or a gate that's been erected across a road. The more modern type of reformer goes gaily to it and says, I don't see the use of this. Let us clear it away. To which the more intelligent reformer will do well to answer, if you don't see the use of it, I certainly won't let you clear it away. Go away and think. Then, when you can come back and tell me that you do see the use of it, I may allow you to destroy it. We need to be very careful when we make changes. Things exist for a reason. And just because they're done someplace else shouldn't be a justification for doing something. So that's part of a process, I think, going forward that I'd like us to keep in mind. Thank you, Mayor McDowell.
All right, that concludes comments. We'll move for an executive session for pending litigation. I need a motion and a second for that.
And thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will move to executive session for pending litigation.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
Hockenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus. Harris.
Yes.
Kirk.
Yes.
Leinbach.
Yes.
This lady had something she wanted to say.
We'll go to executive session. Thank you.
See that list up there?
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.